Hello everyone. Today I'm back with Sandeep Kanholi and Aditya Togi. Welcome to both of you once again.
Hey.
Hi. Today we'll be discussing Rahu Ketu transit through Nakshatra Padas and how it's going to affect different lagnas as well. So welcome.
Great, yeah. Yeah, thank you for inviting us, Navji. Yeah.
Thank you. So first of all, I would like to ask a question regarding how the Gandanta point of Ketu transiting from Mula to Jyeshta, how is it going to have the initial impact?
Yeah, Aditya, why don't you go ahead first? I can
Yeah.
add on after that. Yeah.
So just give a brief. I just want to give a brief introduction of Rahu Ketu. I think most of you may know, but just once again, as we know, Rahu Ketu, they are not planets. They are intersection points because of our two planes. One is the Earth going around the Sun, so we have the Sun-Earth plane. Another is the Moon-Earth plane because Moon is going around the Earth. And these two planes are not parallel, but they intersect. It's like it makes about 5-degree angle, 5.1 degree to be precise. And because whenever a plane cuts, they form a line. So this line is basically the nodal axis. One point is called as Rahu, the other point is called as Ketu. The north node is called as Rahu, where the moon goes to the north. And the south node, where the moon goes to the south, that cutting point is called as Ketu. So as you know, Rahu and Ketu are not like physical planets as we see Mercury or Sun or Earth or Mars or Jupiter, but they are, or Saturn, by the way, they are just an intersection point. There are no physical presence of that. So right now, at present, Rahu and Ketu are in very, almost like 1 degree of, Rahu is in 1 degree of Gemini, Ketu is 1 degree of Sagittarius. And as days will roll on, maybe by September, third week of September 2020, we will have, depending upon you take true position or mean position, we will have this Rahu Ketu coming because they always go retrograde. So Rahu will move from Gemini to Taurus, and Ketu will move from Mula, that is Sagittarius, to Scorpio. Rahu will be in the nakshatra of Mrigashira, moving from third pada to the second pada, and Ketu will be from Mula first pada to Jyeshta fourth pada. Okay, so these points are very important because they also, for example, for Ketu especially, because Ketu moving from Sagittarius to Scorpio is a Gandanta pada. It's a Mool Gandanta. So Ketu is going through the Gandanta, but Rahu is not going. Ketu is going through Gandanta point from Sagittarius to Scorpio. So it becomes very important transit, and I know there are many videos already going on in YouTube about the transit analysis of Rahu Ketu. But we thought that we will discuss about specifics about the Nakshatra Padas especially. That is something very unique. We thought we can do that, and we will discuss those things. So yes, so with that small introduction, I just thought maybe I will start with the topic. And so, okay, now, so how do you have any questions to ask?
Yeah, so Aditya, what do you think about the specific Gantanta? You mentioned Ketu is the one planet that is going through Gantanta. So what do you think more about that? So
Correct.
let's start with that, yeah.
Now this is also a very important point because what is the exaltation point of Ketu? Now, some people say that it is in Mula, some people in Sagittarius, some people say that it is in Scorpio. And long time back, I've done a video where, the Ketu's Yogatara point, or not Ketu's, Mula's Nakshatra's Yogatara point is at very barely at 3 degree of Sagittarius, where they're exactly along the 3 degree of Sagittarius on the zodiac point. The background of that lies exactly at that point. We have the galactic center, which is exactly the Mula. Mula is the roots. And the Yogatara of Ardra Nakshatra is at 5 degree of Gemini, where we have the Yogatara of Ardra Nakshatra, which is Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse, of course, Ardra is a star of Rahu too. Mula is nothing but a nakshatra of Ketu too. Okay, so it's barely at the very junction of that. So some people take Sagittarius, some people take a Scorpio of exaltation point of Ketu. For Rahu, some people take Gemini, some people take Taurus. And that's not only because of that, there are many other reasons. Maybe I'll just say, what is Ketu? When you think Ketu, Ketu in astrology is what? What do you think? Ketu in astrology denotes what all? Spirituality, devotion, and what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is what? Sagittarius is a sign of planet Jupiter. What is Jupiter? Jupiter is a planet of spirituality, wisdom, knowledge, all those things. So Ketu and Jupiter somehow it's a very similar energies. Of course, the nature of Ketu is very dynamic, very fast and furious, you can say, compared to Jupiter. Okay, first let me talk about Ketu, then I will go to with Rahu. So this point, and other thing is, what is Ketu? Now Ketu, many people, even I, for my analysis, I take Ketu's own house as Scorpio. What is the sign of Scorpio? Scorpio is a transformation sign. Scorpio is a 8th house, natural sign occupying the 8th house. What is 8th house for? Sudden transformation, knowledge, occult, research, interest in subjects which are unknown and hidden. All themes fit very well with the Ketu theme. So Ketu's theme is very much aligned with Jupiter, because what is devotion, what is spirituality and all? It is unknown, it is not seen, it is hidden, it is something beyond our conceptual thoughts. So that's where the Ketu is. So Ketu somehow represents, this transformation. So now when Ketu is passing through the Gandanta point from Sagittarius to Scorpio, what it is telling you? Somehow the overall picture it gives me is a understanding of unknown, understanding of something deep, something occult, something which are hidden to the society. Those things can come up. Okay. And Ketu is what? Ketu is also the Karak of virus. We know everyone is afraid of virus nowadays, pandemic everywhere. So Ketu is also virus. So I think people were not afraid of virus till now than recent times. We have all this coronavirus. So transformation. So maybe we may find something about coronavirus, or maybe the things have already gone down. I think now even the coronavirus numbers are increasing and all those. Of course, in India it is still increasing, but in US and all, I don't know whether the curve is going down or what. But at least that fear, we are past that fear, I guess. How long will you fear? And by the time when the Ketu goes away, when the Ketu comes in Scorpio, I think that is a time something to know about the virus, maybe something to know about, secret about this virus, or something can come up. So Ketu will definitely, as you tell, what are the themes with Ketu? So Ketu will somehow show which is something hidden, some knowledge of unknown, some knowledge of maybe the solution for maybe by coronavirus. Who knows? It's an unknown. It's still hidden. We don't know. Maybe by the time when Ketu comes in Scorpio, we may find a solution.
Right.
So that is the thing. That are the themes. Coming back to Rahu now. What is Rahu doing there? Rahu is going from Gemini. From still in the Mrigashira constellation, but from Gemini to Taurus. What is Taurus sign? Taurus is a sign of, it's an earthbound sign, materialistic, materialistic gains and all those things. Gemini is a sign of, what does Gemini stands for? Gemini basically it's a third house sign, patience, courage, all you can talk about the third houses, hands. It's also the, remember, it's also 8th from the 8th. Ketu is also 8th from the 8th. Okay, so that's also transformation that happening. But Rahu will probably give you a little bit more of themes such as materialistic gains. Okay. Maybe that's where the majority will go. Materialistic gains and other things can come up. Of course, we just can't say Rahu Ketu's effect. Of course, there are other planets too playing a role. There are Saturn sitting there. There is Jupiter going in Capricorn, and all those things will happen in the coming months. So it's just not about Rahu and Ketu, it's about other things too. But as a whole picture, when you talk about Rahu going in Taurus will give you a lot of materialistic gains. Ketu going in Scorpio will give you a lot of information about hidden things, unknown, other occult research and other things. Now, depending upon your Lagna, wherever it is, it's a whole different story. That we will talk later.
Right.
General.
Right. So let's see. So Aditya, what do you think about the Gandanta though? Like Gandanta is a very important point though, right? So Ketu transiting over the junction between the the water sign Scorpio and the fire sign Sagittarius. So anything more on that?
So it is going from fire to water sign, definitely. So this is a really a very important point, as you say. And so something very important. So Ketu's transit, I feel, is something more important than Rahu somehow. I feel, because Ketu is transiting with Gandanta, but Rahu is not. Of course, everyone is important, but Ketu is somewhat playing an important role. And in today's scenario, they always say astrology always has to see Desh, Kal, Patra, correct? What is the current scenario of the whole society? Probably it's this pandemic which is going on for months. So probably when it comes to Scorpio, we may know some secrets of this Ketu's theme. And remember, Ketu is going in his own house. Some people say it's exalted in Scorpio. Some people say it is his own house. The themes of Scorpio and Ketu very well match. So somehow I feel through this Gandanta major transformation. Gandanta is always transformation. We all know that. So major transformation is expected maybe in the coming months, especially on the third week of September or something like that. But say from October onwards. October, November, and everywhere transformation. Elections are coming in US.
That's right. Yeah.
November, politics. So
yeah,
and it's a very important. Of course, when I talk about US, what is the Lagna of US? We all know that. Lagna of US is
Ardra, if I'm not mistaken.
it's
Jyeshta. Oh yeah, Jyeshta. Right. Yeah.
Oh, is it Jyeshta? Oh.
So Ketu is right coming there.
Yeah.
So how important it will be. Exactly when Ketu is coming over Jyeshta. People argue.
Some astrologers believe in Jyeshta and so forth. So that is true. Yeah.
If you see when that constitution was signed at Philadelphia, 4th July 1776,
oh yeah,
the Lagna is basically Jyeshta.
Oh, okay, right.
Eighth sign is occupied by the
Rahu, yeah.
Sign of Gemini. So there are a lot of planets in the 8th house, I know.
Right.
But Jyeshta Lagna is considered. So anyway, transformation in US probably. I'm not talking about politics is going to come and what all now, but that's a different topic. So Ketu will, where the Rahu Ketu axis will be, it will be on the 1st house axis and the 7th house axis.
Right.
For country or for US. So definitely some transformation.
Yeah. Now what I can add on a personal level is that Dr. Pai once mentioned that water signs indicate the past and the fire signs indicate the future, and basically Nadi kind of astrology and so forth. So what I also feel is that when Ketu is transiting over the Gandanta, you are forced to be in between past and present. Past and the future, which is actually the present moment. So the past is the water sign of Scorpio, the future is the fire sign of Sagittarius, and the only place that is in between is the Gandanta, which is the present moment. So it's almost like if you haven't been prepared for emergencies, you might also be prepared for emergencies. That's a very important thing, usually with Ketu and Gandanta. Usually, now, what kind of emergencies, right? So usually, right now there are a lot of forest fires raging in some parts of the world. Now very important thing is also to watch out for some big economic kind of downturns, upturns, things like that kind of thing around the Gandanta transit. And then it's very important though, what is also happening is that it's almost as if remember the Nakshatras, as Aditya pointed out, was also Mula Nakshatra and Jyeshta Nakshatra. So Ketu is transiting from Mula to Jyeshta also. So very important thing for this Gandanta specifically is that you'll feel as if your foundations in your life are being shaken up, because Mula is like literally you feel like everything's up in the air. So I need to force myself new thing. Okay, I'm stuck in home in isolation. What do I do? Should I be establishing some new way of looking at my life in the future and so forth? Should I be changing the way I'm doing my work in a different way? Am I becoming more conscious of my children and so forth? All that kind of thing is becoming very strong right now because of Ketu, that Gandanta kind of thing, and the Gandanta is going to make it stronger. You might feel like you are subject to forces. You don't know why it is happening to you. You'll feel that very, very strongly. This effect of this, it feels like you are going through very extremely strong isolation karma. And you will feel the peak of that isolation when Ketu translates to the Gandanta. Moment when it transits over to Scorpio, then suddenly a newer, deeper psychological kind of thing will come forth. And I do think it's a great time period for research, for sure. But then the thing is that you will be researching thing about yourself in the end. You might be researching how can I bring more stability into your life, or how can you bring changes into your life and things like that. That's a big shift that can happen. Usually, ideally, I wouldn't recommend beginning anything important during this Ketu transit over Gandanta. It's very powerful spiritually. very powerful in occult terms. Now, very important thing from the astronomical perspective is that the whole Gandanta region is actually falling on the tail of the Scorpio constellation. The tail of the Scorpio constellation, exactly that. So we know what the Scorpio is having. You know what the Scorpio does with its tail. There is this natural thing to bite, to hit, that kind of thing. So in this time period, you might also see a lot more themes of like wanting to bite back or wanting to fight back or wanting to have this vengeance kind of thing going on, triggered in a strong way also. That is a real transformation also. Now, what is also very important, I would even say, is that this is a very important time period with respect to occult forces or acknowledging the occult forces in your life. So if you haven't been doing any kind of spiritual practices right now, anyone would be like, going towards some kind of meditation or some kind of mantra chanting or something like that. So it could be that you might feel the intensity is too strong and you might feel the need to do some kind of spiritual practice, whether it be just simple meditation or simple mantra chanting or something like that. But overall, I would even say that this being forced to be in the present moment is kind of like dealing with this emergency kind of situation. And I think the last time when Jupiter was in Moola, I think there was the church that kind of burned, right? The church in France that actually burned, the Notre Dame church suddenly got destroyed and stuff like that. So I really wouldn't be surprised with those kind of destructive kind of themes happening at religious kind of institutions. I mean, for sure, all the churches and temples right now are having a hard time already, with Corona and all that. So you can expect something more challenging to come forth, in my opinion, at least during this Gandanta transit, But like I said, this should be like a wake-up call to really change your own life and put in deeper spiritual foundations, recognizing that you have to live your life no matter what the transformation is coming your way and so forth. So it's very important, this particular transit of Ketu and Gandanta, in my opinion. Just like what Aditya was saying about the transformation Scorpio, it's very important to recognize that the emotional, all the emotional energies that are kept hidden from others might also come forth unexpectedly. So you really need to watch out for that and make sure you're not, you're not releasing all that should have been kept hidden in the first place. That's also a very important thing. When Ketu is transiting through Scorpio, you might feel unconsciously the need to literally, I need to lash that scorpion tail out, So you don't want that. So it's a very important thing. You will see, but you will begin to see people will be reacting in an unconscious fashion. You'll actually see a lot more riots, a lot more people fighting for that kind of thing can become very strong, in my opinion, especially around the Gandanta. Usually it's like Gandanta, usually I would say with Moola and Jyeshta even, is like this, definitely with the people whom you looked up to with Jyeshta, there might be some challenges there. So perhaps the eldest sibling of the family is having some transformations there with Jyeshta. That's an easy thing you could say. Moola, usually it's like you are finally having to deal with very destructive forces that are in your life, which are forcing you to change the whole foundation of your whole life also. But yeah, I think that should be good for Ketu and Gandanta transits. Yeah.
So basically, like Ketu is going to be in Gandanta from September 7th till October 7th. So it's a good time for spirituality, inner work, and just not trying to react and not start anything new, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Not try to react, because what will be interesting is that the reaction will be coming forth from your past life kind of energies, because Ketu is also the planet of past life. So you don't want the past life, 1,000-year era kind of thing to dictate what is happening this day and age. So it's very important to recognize that also.
Right. Thank you. My next question is, what are going to be some prominent themes when Rahu is transiting in Taurus, specifically through different nakshatras? So from Mrigashira to Rohini to Kritika, what are some general themes we can see them being in different nakshatras?
So Aditya, why don't you go ahead then? I can join in.
Rahu, actually, yeah. So as we know, Rahu will be going in Taurus from Mrigashira. We have 3 nakshatras in Taurus. One is Kritika, one is Rohini, one is Mrigashira. Rahu goes always in opposite direction. So right now it is in Mrigashira, third pada. After Gandanta, after when it transits in Scorpio or in Taurus sign, it will go to Mrigashira second pada. So it will remain in Mrigashira for some time, then it will go to Rohini, then it will go to Kritika. Fine. Mrigashira, let's understand what is theme of Mrigashira. Mrigashira is a searching star again, searching. It's called the searching star.
Right.
So that's what Mrigashira is. So searching, of course. What are we searching for? So there are a lot of themes of Rahu related to searching. Right, of course, it depends. Each person will have different themes. Basically, they be depending upon their lagna and the houses and where Mrigashira is falling in their chart. But let's talk about Kalpurush. Kalpurush Kundali doesn't change, it's again. So think about as a broad picture, Rahu is going to the second house. What is second house? Second house is nothing but finance. Second house is nothing but wealth. Second house is nothing but something that supports you. Your support. Okay. Ventilator, correct? That's what support system, ventilator. So the ventilator of the society probably in the second house. Anyway. So again, so Rahu going in Mrigashira, Rahu transiting also, is already transiting in Mrigashira. So searching themes, probably some searching themes can go. When it comes to Rahu in Rohini, as a broader picture I'm saying, what is Rohini? It's a star of wealth. A lot of material things, material ups and downs you can probably try to see. Because Rohini is a nakshatra of abundance, Rohini is a nakshatra of wealth, Rohini is a nakshatra of somewhere related to finance and all those things. So Rahu going there can create some ups and downs related to those things. So finance market can be probably this one thing which I could see, a lot of fluctuations in there. Shares, finance and all those things, that's what I see. Then comes Rahu in Kritika. Rahu in Kritika. Kritika is a nakshatra of course, there are many themes of Kritika. Critical, that's what Kritika is basically. Critical analysis, something related to fire. So Kritika, the lord of Kritika, is also Agni Deva. So a lot of fire themes. Maybe. So anyway, Rahu, when it goes to Kritika, it will be almost by the next year or so. So it's almost 1 year down the line. But anyway, right now we have to think. So main theme is, whenever you see Taurus, of course, it is made up of 3 nakshatras, Kritika, Rohini, and Mrigashira. Out of that, Rohini themes very well match with they say that the Taurus gets its flavor from the Rohini Nakshatra. That's what they say. Now, every nakshatra is very prominent. For example, Aries gets its flavor from Ashwini. Taurus gets its flavor from Rohini, so and so forth. Gemini gets its flavor from maybe Punarvasu, and that also Adra, but Punarvasu is another. Pushya is the flavor which gives Cancer. So there is each nakshatra is very important compared to the Rashi's theme. For example, if you come to Leo, then Magha is slightly resonating with the Leo constellation. But anyway, I won't go into all those themes. So right now we are talking about, so Taurus is what? Taurus is second house, it's wealth, it's beauty and all those. And then Rohini Nakshatra becomes very important. So overall the picture when it comes in, so when Rahu comes in Rohini, that will be something, a major theme you will see there. The real power around that. And remember, the Yoga Tara is at exactly at around 15 degree of Taurus, 15, 16 degrees, something like that. So when Rahu transiting at 15 degrees, 16 degrees, so maybe probably 9 months from now, because it takes about 18 months for Rahu to transit. So 9 months from now, so September plus 9 months will be around June of next year. That's where exactly Rahu will transit, Rohini. So something related to market. And remember what's happening at that time too. We have in the Capricorn sign, who else is there? It's Jupiter as well as our friend Saturn is sitting there.
Right.
Okay. And then Jupiter is basically aspecting our Rahu.
Right.
Okay. So that, what is 10th house? Again, 10th house is nothing but karma. 10th house, again, it's again an earthbound sign. So I take as a whole picture. So whenever I see as a whole picture, Rahu, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Jupiter, Saturn. Many things, you could see the whole, in a broad sense, of course, the whole, so somewhere there I see some market theme going up and down and all those things.
Okay.
Especially liquidity, wealth, something those. We have already seen that happening. Gold. Okay, I should do this sometime. We were having plans about gold, and really I find maybe we should do a video. But you see, see the peaks of last 100 years. I did that analysis. See the peaks of last 100 years where gold has peaked. See the position of Jupiter and Saturn. You will see a nice correlation. We will do that video maybe sometime. I don't know when. I'm not getting time. But see how it changes.
Right.
So, so we have our friend Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn in Capricorn. We have Rahu in Taurus. There is some combination happening between Rahu and Jupiter too. So a lot of finance fluctuations in share markets and all. That is what I see generally expected. It's in a broad way, of course. You said to compare with Mrigashira and Rohini and Kritika. I'm just giving you a broad picture of more like Rohini when this will happen. Kritika, what will happen is basically after effects of that probably. Critical thinking and all those things, and of course fire issues and all those things will happen definitely. But those overall.
Right. So, right. Yeah, I'll just add on to that. Like, what definitely the searching team is very strong right now. I mean, we are all searching for new ways to kill our boredom at home, for sure, Then we have, but interestingly, there is also a very important search for vaccine. All that has been going on right now also. Now, with Mrigashira, one different thing I want to say is that of the deity here being Soma. We have to recognize that Soma used to be like the Amrit, so we are actually also going to be very conscious of the food choices that we make. So that I think Rahu and Taurus overall, you're beginning to see that. We'll be searching for new ways of, having food. Definitely everyone will be conscious of having food. Now, the other thing with Mrigashira is also, Soma can also be alcohol. I've seen that, now there's a lot of alcoholics right now happening. But then you'll see that kind of tendency being increased right now. But so just watch out for that tendency.
So you're saying alcohol price will increase?
Well, I think the alcohol industry is going to have a big up. They want to make
Maybe
big
I
gains
should
right
collect all my alcohol and keep ready then for the next year.
Yeah. Alcohol price. Have you seen alcohol price increasing? Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know. I've not experienced that. I don't know. Maybe I should take a look into that. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Yeah. Now, Ji, have you? What were you saying? You said something.
I said I have noticed some people just been drinking a lot even though they don't want to,
Exactly.
and they're like, oh, I don't know, I have decided not to have drink, but then in the evening I want drink. So so I see that drinking theme around me a lot, and I'm not sure if that's just gonna stay till Rahu's in Mrigashira and then it'll change.
Yeah, you'll see that for sure in Rahu and Mrigashira. I can say that for sure that in Rahu and Mrigashira. Usually Mrigashira is also like this. Even though it's a moksha, its final thing is that of moksha. So there's a tendency to escape here also with Mrigashira. But though Mrigashira is also soft nakshatra, but because the deity is Soma, it's like this water. You are trying to drink stuff anyway. You'll begin to see people are either change now. Mrigashira is also content with with eye makeups and makeup and all that also. Like people. A lot of good chance that if you haven't taken care of your face and whatnot, you'll be taking care of it right now. You might be investing into new makeup stuff, you might be investing in new beauty products, all that can be a real thing there.
Is it also like skincare products too?
Yes, 100%. Skincare.
I can't believe it. I changed all my skincare products in like last 3 weeks, and I didn't realize why. And then I was watching these videos, and they're like naturally second house, right, Taurus? And then this is interesting,
And it's all
yes, you'll see that
animal symbol is for Mrigashira as well as for Rohini. So
the deer head, right?
And the animal symbol of Mrigashira is
a snake. Yeah.
Rohini is also snake.
Snake, yeah. So snake is very important. I think there'll be some famous snakes coming during this 1.5 years. Some snakes will be famous. And it's very interesting, right? Even in Netflix, there's this Cobra Kai kind of TV show that just came up. You can see an actual symbolism kind of a thing coming up, like a snake kind of TV shows and stuff like that. Now, with Mrigashira also, what I would even say is that now here's an actual thing that can be done with Mrigashira. It's that of like actually looking more into the healing elixirs and stuff like that. So like looking more into essential oils. That's something I can highly recommend. You can, now they say that, how do you recognize when you are in the presence of a god or goddess? Like yogis meditate, they say mantras. How do you recognize that? One of the ways how you recognize is that through smell. So like, if you use certain essential oils, you smell that same essential oil for a really long time, there's a good chance that eventually a god or goddess can come, like through, and you combine that with your meditation also. So that's an actual simple thing I can highly recommend when Rahu is a Mrigashira. In fact, one simple thing I can even really recommend is to try out different kinds of essential oils like each day. Do it like a discipline. So normally people would like one or two essential oil, will stick with it for a really long time, but get a smaller essential oil bottle, try it out for each of those 12 days and so forth. So you try it for 12 days, you'll begin to see some interesting kind of effect with different kind of fragrance and so forth. So that's an actual thing you can karmically do, because Rahu is there. You bring in some oil, suddenly out of nowhere you're getting wealth. There's an actual possibility there. You can actually see that happening. I can even say that with the Mrigashira, there is also a lot more interest going into media kind of work and beauty kind of work. So like definitely the beauty industry is already going through a transformation with Corona and all that. But right now it's going to get more intense for them. But then I do think there will be some bigger opportunity that can come forth also eventually. Perhaps the way I see it is that I see when Rahu is in Rohini is also interestingly connected with beauty, luxury, art, and all that. So definitely you could actually see some big movie kind of thing, or big songs coming out during this time period. So like I was watching a video online, and in which it said that the Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller music album actually came when last time when Rahu was in Taurus and stuff like that. One of the times when Rahu was in Taurus, So it's also the other thing. But even if you look back into our recent 18 years ago, after the 9/11, the world changed, the things were settling down and so forth, Now, Rahu and Taurus with Rohini is also financial nakshatra. And Mrigashira is also technical side of finance, So you begin to see a lot more people getting interested into the technical financial kind of instruments. Like there's a lot of people who have been looking into share markets right now. A lot of people have put in money into that. And I do see that when Rahu is in Rohini, the cryptocurrency kind of thing will take a huge boom. I think people will be investing money. People are already thinking about increasing their investments. Probably good chance that right now already many people are dealing with their investments and so forth. But right now, if we see Rahu being in Rohini, for sure, you will 100% be thinking about new ways to invest money. The way I see it, many people will be investing money into fixed assets for a really long time. So like assets like, land, for instance, real estate, apartments, things like that. That kind of thing will become very, very strong. Especially like, as Aditya said, when Jupiter moves into Capricorn, and Jupiter will be aspecting Rahu also. Now, anyone who hasn't been interested into finance, they'll be talking with financial advisors, they'll be figuring out their tax, figuring out all those tax loopholes and stuff like that. That kind of thing can become very strong during this time period, when Jupiter is also aspecting Rahu in Taurus. And definitely, when Rahu is in Kritika, one definite thing I can add on to is that Kritika is also connected with food. So you'll find a lot of, very famous cooks about to come into play. We'll already begin to see a lot of very famous, chefs and all that. I'm sure there'll be some big chef coming during this time period, some big chef show. We already have the master chef kind of thing going on. So probably you might see a big transformation with the whole chef TV show, cooking shows and so forth, that kind of thing. Now, the other thing with Kritika is also that you yourself might feel like eating a lot. That's also one more thing you need to watch out for that. Usually Taurus is ruled by Venus, so you have this overall theme of pastries and all those good cakes and all that. So watch out for that. If you're a sugar patient and stuff like that, right? So sugar patient, diabetes patient, prime time for you to like take in more of this kind of thing going on. You'll feel that actually. That's the key thing. So you need to watch out for that. The other thing with Kritika, the Kritika though is very interesting as a nakshatra because it is a nakshatra of fire. So fire is usually present in havans, homas and stuff like that. You find a lot of people getting interested into occult practices, which is requiring fire rituals and so forth. A lot of people will be getting into mantra chanting. A lot of people will be getting into how can I do the havans in my own home. That kind of fire ritual can become very strong. Many people could even be getting into Agnihotra kind of thing very strongly with Kritika. That kind of thing can be very, very strong. And Kritika is also linked with, one important thing I forgot to mention is that Rohini is also having a, karma jealousy. So you're going to face this very karmic jealousy during this time period. So like people who are becoming jealous of you, or you become jealous of someone else, and or you having increasing this possessiveness kind of thing going on with your spouse or whatever, or with your boyfriend, girlfriend, friend, family, all the jealousy kind of themes can come forth very, very strongly with Rahu being in Rohini. Because Rohini was the favorite wife of Moon, and she was subject to jealousy from Jyeshta. So that's an important theme to watch out for. But on the bright side, though, perhaps what could happen is that because Rohini, the deity here is actually Prajapati, you might become very creative also. You might express your creativity in many ways. You'll find many people are singing songs and making videos on Facebook and stuff like that about singing and all that. That kind of thing is very much possible. Perhaps you might even pick up an artistic hobby also during this time period. That's a very good chance for that. And I think perhaps the way I see it is that definitely a lot of generation-defining artists could come forward during this time period. It is also Taurus is also the natural second house of song and music also, this voice. So very powerful, very interesting TV shows with respect to music and stuff can come forth. I do think even like very interesting artists could also come forth during this time period also. It will be very interesting to see that. I also think there'll be some very important historical kind of revolutions that can come during this time period. So almost like changing the whole field of history. There's an increased interest in history. All that is also happening. So that
I think what happened? Something happened to his.
Should we pause?
Can do that. I think he will come back.
Yeah, I think I was lost briefly.
Yes.
I think it was a history part. What was the last thing you heard?
History.
Yeah, I think the history kind of thing can become very strong, in which we are forced to some big historical findings, which is kind of which we are kind of forced to reconcile some very important aspects of our own history. I think that's a very important thing with the Taurus also, because it's a sign lingua history. Now history. Now on the global level, it can be history, but on a personal level, it can be your own family history. Could be that. Could be like, how was money spent by your ancestors? How was money spent? Why did my father spend money in this friend? And now that's creating a whole scene in the family. That kind of thing could play out. Usually with Rohini, though, a very important theme also I have to say, especially with Prajapati, is that Prajapati was actually, had a problem with Rudra. Rudra actually came and chopped off Prajapati's head. So usually when Rahu was in Ardha, a lot of Rudra energy came out into the world. Now you might actually see an actual problem when Rahu is in Rohini also. So you might, like I said, so Ardha is also virus and all that. So so again, I don't see, there might be an unexpected kind of problem happening when Rahu is transiting close to Rohini and so forth. Now with the Kritika, one thing I have to add is that I think there is one. Kritika is actually a nakshatra where Moon is getting exalted also. I think when we talk about padas, we'll cover that. But what is important is that with Moon is also our own mind, and when Rahu is in Kritika, there is a tendency for us to become increasingly critical of ourselves also. So that's a very important thing to watch out for. We might be too self-critical. We might be criticizing everyone else. Everyone else feels like criticizing everyone else. Like government will be subject to criticize, and that's an important aspect to watch out for. That's something you'll begin to see others do it, and you just need to become more aware so that you are not you are not subject to that force. Now, of course, when you feel a criticism energy, direct it towards some positive goals. Like criticize your own health, for instance, or criticize your own financial spending, for instance. Things like that. That can actually help you out in clearing that thing. But rather than criticize your parents or criticize your children or whatnot, and then whatever, you might actually begin to see challenging, or your spouse is subject to usually criticism constantly. So usually that's one thing you need to watch out for in general. You'll begin to see criticism being a reason for a big karmic kind of a thing to come forth. That's the other thing with Kritika. It's like what Aditya was saying. Now, with Kritika is also that having the deity of Agni. So I do think there can be some really big forest fires, stuff like that, that's about to happen in the way I see it. Now, because Moon is getting exalted, and I think Algol is in Kritika also. Now, Kritika, because of Algol, Algol has a very bad reputation, amongst the stars. So Algol is like, you might, again, Kritika Agni consumed the entire forest. So you have to watch out for your addictive tendencies here. You definitely have to watch out for addiction with food. Food addiction issues can become a big theme during this time period. I would even say that with Kritika, you also need to watch out for mental addictive kind of issues and so forth also. It's a very important thing with Kritika. It's like you feel like this fire has been activated and you're just obsessed with that kind of thing also in a big way. And that's one of those things. And you feel it's a very important thing with when Rahu is about to leave Taurus, because that's the part of our moon is getting exalted in. At that point is when you really have to be chanting mantras to purify your mind. But there's an actual opportunity here to chant mantra in the presence of fire. So even if you just light a candle here and you just chant a mantra to a candle fire, even that also works out for you very perfectly. You needn't have a full-on homaka. Just light a diya and just light a deepam and just like chant mantras to it. That's the easiest thing I can recommend. Now, with Rohini, I can definitely recommend to actually meditate upon the Yogatara. I think the Yogatara Aldebaran, right? So if you can actually look at the Aldebaran right now, it's a very powerful time period. When you meditate upon Aldebaran, you might actually get some new ideas about making wealth. I think that's a very strong thing with Rohini. You might actually, so meditation, so that might happen. So probably Aditya can say when we could see it in the night sky and so forth. So then I think, but because when Rahu is in Rohini and then you meditate upon Aldebaran, some new wealth energy can come for you very easily also. That's a very powerful thing I can definitely recommend. Definitely you will find some new ideas about how to make wealth.
In November is a month to do basically.
Yeah.
Because you will see Aldebaran whole night.
Yeah. So Aldebaran can be very, when you see Aldebaran, when you see the Taurus constellation up in the sky, meditating upon that is a very powerful remedy when Rahu is in Taurus. I cannot emphasize that enough. Especially when Rahu is in Taurus, that you begin to see, you can absorb that energy, so you can absorb the pure raw energy of Aldebaran. That can be very, very good for you financially. That's one thing, yeah. So yeah, that's the Rahu through at least a brief thing with Rahu.
You said for the finance, I really feel that will be amazing because I already see many people, because now of this pandemic, all the shares have gone low. So many people have invested in shares and other things because shares are all low.
Yes.
Even my students here, my friends here and all, having little bit income, they just put in, see the shares of Tesla, what has happened. They are all getting boomed up and all. So probably because after this pandemic is over, what will happen? The market will go in like a super fast train or maybe something like that, which will really increase your shares and all. So proper planning ads can really give you a profitable thing or something. So that I can.
So what do you think? What sectors do you think will be making money based on Taurus, Aditya?
First of all, Rohini, cars. No, Rohini is what? Car.
Right. That's right.
System. What is car? Car, automobiles, and all those things, which is already there. No, Tesla is like, of course, making a lot of deal. And someone was saying, I don't know how much time, 5-6 times the share has gone. I don't know. I'm not into share business.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. I don't know. I'm wrong to. Don't quote on me, but really 5-6 times, that's what they were saying. Now they have really changed some. Yesterday only my friend was saying they have changed some rules and you could do this, you could divide something. He was saying he was purchasing, he also to purchase. I said I don't want anyone right now. I'm happy. Who's going to them? But anyway, so car and all, because that's what Rohini is basically, car thing and mobile.
What about land?
Land comes. I will see Shravana because that's where Jupiter is transiting. Correct?
Yeah.
So land.
When Jupiter enters into Shravana, it can be very powerful, right? Land investments and so forth. Yeah.
But I don't know what will happen to the land. Will it go up or will it go down or what is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people, when Jupiter is in Shravana, a lot of people will be letting go of their land investments, the way I see it. I think that is an actual possibility. That when Jupiter is in Shravana, they'll be making money from the land. But when Rahu is in Taurus, though, it's a very good time period to invest in land, especially when, Venus is exalted in the future and so forth. And whenever that happens, or Venus is in Scorpio even, I can really recommend that, land kind of investments, definitely. Is the other aspect there. Yeah, land is very good because Taurus is an earth sign. I can definitely say land for sure. But yeah, Aditya, the luxury car is a very important thing. You'll see a lot of people going for luxury cars right now. I think that's an actual possibility.
Why car? Like this is a pandemic situation. And I feel
Yeah.
why? The car is always
Yeah.
thought to me the basic needs of, but why? I don't know. But it's
Yeah.
not and all going, which I don't
Yeah.
understand.
But yeah, well, at least the Tesla, if you invest in Tesla, I think you can make some big money, because definitely, you could say, well, Venus is the planet that wants everything to be smooth, right? So Venus also can do the electric kind of thing and so forth. I think the electric car industry will have a big boom no matter what. So that's something I can definitely say.
Yeah, give
So I
me
do
some money. I
think,
can also put in Tesla.
yeah, so Tesla is very good for sure. I think that can work out. But car is very good. I can say that. When you'll see, I do think the whole luxury car industry will go through a big shift, though. That's a big thing. They'll have
Yeah,
to
you can
go
say
back to
car.
the
Other is alcohol, as you said. Other is all these makeup things and all those things.
yeah, skincare, cosmetics, yeah, definitely, yeah, cosmetic beauty products for sure. I think the beauty thing might explode in a big way. Like I say, I think we are waiting to see some big thing about to happen. Maybe some new compound or plant is discovered or whatever. Some kind of research comes forth, which is making some people big money. The other thing I can definitely say is that weed for sure, like all this cannabis-based product, right? And a lot of people will be getting into that. We actually talked about that slightly before this, right? So
Right.
this cannabis-based products and stuff like that can kind of investing into those kind of companies can be very good for you. Can be making you a lot of big money and so forth. Like you can actually buy shares of those kind of companies, and a lot of product companies out there right now. Now a lot of people are stuck in
I
home.
got Rahu in Mrigashira because Mrigashira is connected to Soma, Mrigashira is connected to
Mhm.
plants and all those things, so plant-based.
Yeah, that's right.
This weeds and
Yeah,
all, I mean, that comes in the category of this Mrigashira. So Rahu in Mrigashira,
yeah,
Rahu is definitely smoke and other things.
yeah.
Very
Mrigashira is also the plant is a very important point because I think the essential oil, the agriculture industry will go through a big transformation also right now. Like now, right now there is a huge thing going on with hydroponics and stuff like that. People are trying to create hydroponics farms in urban cities, things like that. A lot of people are going to do different new kinds of farming right now. The whole farming sector is going to go through a big thing. Can you grow your own vegetables in your own home? Is it possible to grow simple crops in the city where you're in and so forth through simple hydroponic kind of thing? I think that would become a very strong thing when Rahu's in Taurus, and especially when Rahu's in Kritika. I think that can be very, very strong. And perhaps new ways. I really wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people started to do a lot of gardening, and they are actually eating whatever they made from gardening also. You'll see an increased thing in gardening, increased thing with growing crops in your own home. That kind of thing can become very, very strong also. Could be that there might be some innovative kind of no, definitely the whole agriculture industry will go through a big innovation. The way I see it, that's a different kind of thing, and they'll be kind of working on trying out new different things, new different ways to improve their sector and all that. That is definitely going to happen with Rahu and Taurus. So yeah, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, the I think the Kritika definitely is something with Kritika is also a blade, right? So I think a lot of people will be, making all the cosmetic surgeons will be very busy during this time period. The way I see it, there might be some kind of a lot of people will be going for surgery and stuff like that. They want their nose job, all that face job, all that stuff, right? That kind of thing happening. I think that can become very, very strong during this time period. So it'll be kind of interesting whenever that happens. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but you'll see that kind of thing a lot. But yeah, definitely I would say cosmetic companies can also be a very good investment for sure. Yeah.
Interesting. So when Sandeep, you were saying something about essential oils and then meditation and then lighting a lamp or a candle and this chanting, right? So these can be some remedies for Rahu,
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%. I think they can be very powerful remedies. There is this interesting remedy in which there's an interesting kind of an alcohol called as the mead. So you can actually make a mead from honey. There's something called as a honey mead. So it's like an alcohol you make from honey. You can actually make alcohol from jaggery also. You can make alcohol from sugarcane. So like this, I mean, usually the alcohol which normally is you buy from shops is like made from barley, if I'm not mistaken. So you actually get that from that. But then you'll see that interesting people trying out new kinds of alcohol in this particular way. So the alcohol thing will also go through a big shift. The way I see it is that people might be trying mead and stuff like that kind of thing. And now what some people do is that Shiva is a deity to whom you offer alcohol. Bhairav is the form of Shiva to whom you offer alcohol. So some people actually go to a Kal Bhairav temple and offer alcohol also. I think that's a very powerful thing that can happen. Yeah, I mean, that's an actual remedy also, for Rahu and Mrigashira, in my opinion. The other thing I can say with the Mrigashira as a remedy is also to meditate on the moon. What is interesting on Taurus is that there's a lot of moon's influence in Taurus. The moon is exalted here, moon's Multrikon is here, Soma itself is moon. So meditating on the moon is a very, very powerful remedy for Taurus sign. That's a huge remedy, I can say. Just go out in the moon, just look at the moon, let moonlight fall on your face, for like 10-15 minutes. That is a very powerful thing. I can even say that something called as drinking the moon water. So just you put out water out in the moon and then let the water get the moon and so forth for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then drink it before the next day sunrise if you wake up early and so forth. That's a very simple thing. Or just like 3 hours, 4 hours later, you can drink that water. You can even wash your face and your feet and your hands with that water. That can also be something purifying. It's a very simple thing. But yeah, that's also a very easy remedy for...
about moon. So what do you think about silver? Because, silver metal is...
Oh yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think the silver, you can make some big money in silver during this time period, for sure. I think already gold is up, right? So already gold is very up right now. So I think gold is extremely up. So I think the same thing is going to happen with silver. I do think that's a good point. Yeah, definitely silver prices will also increase. You can invest in silver, stuff like that. Now, here's the other thing. Next year when Akshaya Tritiya is happening, there's a golden Upushni because Rahu is actually in, Taurus. Now, what I would really recommend is that next year when Akshaya Tritiya is happening, get some silver coins. These silver coins are cheap, it's comparatively cheap to a gold coin. You can actually get a silver coin and offer it to the god or goddess in your home. Especially when moon is in Taurus. This can be done every month when moon is in Taurus. But ideally, I would recommend when it's Shukla Paksha moon in Taurus time period, compared to Krishna Paksha time. So when you buy silver coins, say you have deities there in your home, you have an altar for the gods and goddesses, put that silver coin when moon is in Taurus. Now, definitely during Akshaya Tritiya day, you should definitely get silver coin, gold coin, whatever. Offer that to the deities there. That's a very powerful remedy for wealth. Easy remedy for wealth. As long as here's the thing, right? So concept is that say you have 10,000 rupees, right? So if you offer that 10,000 rupees to the deity,
hey, what is the omen? I could hear something.
Yeah, there's a fisherman going by, so there's Venus kind of omen here. So I'm in Kerala, right? So a lot of fishermen going by. So you can see that kind of thing. Yeah. So Venus going omen. So what I'm saying is good. So what I can say is that, so usually like offering silver coin to the deity. So the 10,000 rupees in your hand versus 10,000 rupees in God's hand is completely different. It's equivalent to having 100,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees in your own eventual hands. That's an actual thing. So I can really recommend this simple remedy of like putting gold coin or silver coin upon the altar when moon is in Taurus, when it's Shukla Paksha. 100% if the day you have to be doing this is on Akshaya Tritiya day. That is the day when you have to be putting that on the altar. And if you put a silver coin upon the altar, like I said, you will just attract money. And this was the actual principle why gods and goddesses were decorated with jewelry in temples and so forth. Now, if you have a home idol, you have an old gold chain or whatever, you can decorate that. Put that on an auspicious day upon the god or goddess. You can put it on a full moon day. You can even put it when moon is in Taurus, but it's Shukla Paksha. You can put it on any Shukla Paksha time period. You can decorate an idol with any of the old gold chain or silver chain or whatever, that you are no long. And then from that point on, you never touch that coin. It's the god's coin and goddess's coin. You don't touch that silver jewelry. You don't touch that. It's goddess's jewelry from that point on. The key thing is that as long as a god is decorated, you'll be able to see that Shakti being coming forth. And that'll be easy money. Like I said, I've tested it out. For sure, I made a lot of money. I'll recommend it to a client. They made huge money. Like no matter what their status was, just improved. So I've seen that. But the concept is that you are actually giving a silver coin to the deity. And that's the key thing. Now, this is something you can do with any time when the moon is increasing. That's an easy concept. But this is very, very powerful when it's in Taurus, when Rahu is in Taurus. I cannot emphasize that enough. So, but that also requires you to like, so when you have a decorated god and goddess, right? So you also need to be offering some food on a regular basis also. So that's the other thing I can really recommend. So Rahu in second house in Taurus, you need to be offering some fruit. Whatever food you're about to eat, just offer it to like the deities and just have it. Now, usually people worry about, oh, I eat meat, can I offer meat? In my opinion, that's not a big deal because there are meat-eating deities, there are not meat-eating deities. Of course, if you offer non-meat kind of thing, that's always good. But then say you have no choice, then even God can understand that. So at that point, you can offer, I've seen that like in Nepal, they offer, they offer like goat meat and stuff like that. No Lakshmi, so it's like, they don't care. But that's the only food they have, that's what they value and so forth. So it doesn't matter in the end about meat and non-meat. But, in my opinion, that's again, depending upon the culture you're grown in and so forth, it comes down to what practices are followed there also. But then whatever food you have on a regular basis, if you offer to the deities, right? So even at least you're offering fruits. That's something you can easily offer. Definitely you should be offering bananas to the deities. I can highly, highly recommend that. And Jupiter is in Capricorn, offering bananas to the deities on a regular basis. You can even make the Trimodar in which you're making bananas with honey and some jaggery, and some ghee also. A little bit of that. Even offering a little bit of this Trimodar kind of thing to the deity is very, very powerful for wealth. So I can really, really recommend. Now you'll actually see a lot of people willing to do occult practices for wealth during Rahu and Taurus. Ketu will be in Scorpio also during that time period. So it will be a very, very powerful time period for wealth-based remedies. You can see that for sure.
Yeah, we are all talking about Rahu in Taurus, but we are not talking about Ketu in Jyeshta and Ketu in Anuradha, especially.
Yeah.
So let us talk.
Yeah. So go ahead, Aditya. That's a good point.
Oh, sorry, I had a question. So offering banana to the temples, okay too? And what about if if someone has no altar at their house, right? So what if they have some like their guru's picture, or they have like,
right. So you can offer it to whoever is upon your altar. You can offer it to gurus. You can offer it to gods. If ideally, I would recommend if you have a statue, then you need to be offering food to that statue. That's a problem otherwise. Usually, at least food. Because Venus is getting debilitated in Chitra, at least some kind of fruit needs to be offered to the statue, which is Chitra. So that is, you're improving that Venus, So I've seen that is a problem usually. Like people with statue, like usually there's a common thing with the constellations I have. How many statues of gods and goddesses do you have? So I have many. How many of them are getting food and proper treatment? At least you're offering incense. None. I don't have time for it. Then that's the source of your problems. That's the key thing I've seen. I've seen that is a very big problem with the statues in general. At least some kind of food, some kind of incense at least you're offering. That's a starting point. Now, if you don't have a statue, then that's fine. You can just offer it to the god, even, by praying, but you're offering the food. The offering is very important. I think that's very important. If you have guru's picture, then you can just offer it to guru. That also works. I've seen that also working.
So just offering coin to the guru and then just leaving it, not touching it. So you just deposit it. You can offer bananas to going to the temple and Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
For guru.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Jupiter is Thursdays for sure. Yeah, definitely. Guru. You can offer banana to temple. You can, when Rahu's in Taurus, you can actually offer coconut to temples. That's the easiest thing I can recommend. Rahu's is coconut also. Offering coconut to temples is very, very powerful, especially like Ganesh temples. Smashing coconut is very, very powerful right now for making wealth. Like we underestimate the value of smashing coconut as a ritual. We're so used to it but right now, especially do it on Fridays and so forth, or Saturdays even, very, very powerful. For the next 1.5 years, every weekend you go smash coconut, 108 coconuts later, you'll see a big change in your life. I can guarantee that. I mean, you can even, a very easy remedy when Rahu's and Rohini is to actually donate coconuts. Eventually get to a point where you're donating 108 coconuts to temples or so forth. Now, this can be a Ganesh temple, this can be a goddess temple, Shiva temple, doesn't matter. That also works. So I've seen even like, there's a lot of coconut-based remedies, right? So that you can put the tie coconut together and pour it into a flowing water. that is considered to be good. Usually you tie odd number of coconuts, 1, 3, 5 number of coconuts, you offer it to flowing water, that is considered to be very good for Pitradosh and all that. But in general, I've seen if you have a regular habit of just donating coconuts on a regular basis, that usually helps out in many ways. That's something I've seen for sure. Rahu and Taurus is also, I can definitely say that you might be trying on new cuisines and stuff like that. You know, if you're like a Mexican food person, now you're trying, you know, Ethiopian cuisine, you know, that kind of thing is actually possible. But I would actually say that Rahu and Taurus, you might actually have to offer food to a stranger. That's the other thing I can recommend. So usually when you have festivals and stuff, we offer food, we share food and stuff like that with our neighbors and whatnot. That's something I can really say that kind of thing will actually play itself out this time period also. But that can be an actual remedy though. That's the key thing I can say. When you offer food to a stranger, complete stranger, you're offering some good food, or maybe you're just like, you know, you're just giving the money back to the next customer in line or whatever. You're buying the coffee for the next person in line, things like that. You know, just pay it up forward. That kind of thing I've seen that can really give you big results when Rahu and Taurus. So it's a very simple thing, but that can be a very powerful thing. Yeah, 108 coconuts later, 108 coffees later, something has improved for you, you know.
So the coconut remedy is pretty safe for everybody to do, right? Like it's safe. Any general remedy.
The thing with the remedy is that it depends upon your karma. So say you harmed your guru in your past lifetime, and then you're doing something for guru, then that will actually come. That's just, doesn't matter what. There's a story with every remedy. So
right.
You needn't. I think we need to be fearful about it, but at least we need to be willing to face our own karmas in the end. That's the way I would say.
Thank you. So what about Ketu?
Ketu, because Ketu will have, of course, when we talk about Rahu, I think always
yeah.
Ketu. So Ketu in Jyeshta is, as we know, is basically Jyeshta, the deity is Indra, head of the institution or head of the, so those things can suffer when Ketu is in Jyeshta. Government, head, management, managing people, all those people can have a really tough time when Ketu is in Jyeshta. And then other important thing which is happening is Ketu is also coming in Anuradha after a few months. So maybe after 6 months down the line or something like that, maybe 6-7 months down the line. The Ketu, when it comes Anuradha, what is Anuradha? Anuradha is nothing but Nakshatra for Radha or devotion. So there I see a lot of Ketu, of course, planet of spirituality and all those. And then Anuradha is also planet, so Nakshatra of devotion and all. So something related to that can also trigger. Of course, this Rahu is giving a lot of materialistic things, but don't forget Ketu is also telling you to something about devotion, something about connecting with your spirituality, connecting with your dharma, connecting with your gurus and all those things. You know, devotion matter, just not getting flow into the materialistic nature of Rahu, but also have your legs firmly on the spiritual aspect of Ketu. With that balancing act of materialistic and spirituality, I think both go hand in hand. I think that's what we should be taking care of. Don't underestimate Ketu with all this too, because Ketu is also required. Maybe when Ketu comes in Anuradha, a lot of devotional activities can trigger maybe. So that's one thing to say.
Well, one thing I would definitely want to say is that when Ketu is in Scorpio, especially Jyeshta and Anuradha for sure, you know, there'll be sexual scandals. I've seen that. You can expect some huge sexual scandals to come forth. For sure, there'll be some big scandals coming forth. For sure. Now, the problem is that if you have a planet in Jyeshta and Ketu is transiting through Jyeshta, you need to watch out for, like, you know, married men, married women being attracted to you. You'll see that kind of a karma happening. For sure, but if you're in Indra, for sure Indra has chased the, you know, wives of rishis and so forth. So that's the legend there. So you need to watch out for that. Out of no reason you'll see like married men are attracted to you, married women are attracted to you, and then you're like, why am I in this mess? You know, should I actually go for it? You know, you'll see that kind of thing. Of course, you shouldn't go for it, for sure. You know, even if you're in an unhappy marriage, figure it out first, fix that thing first, and then go for it. But you'll actually see that. You'll actually see that kind of thing happening very strongly. That's a very big thing, I have to say. I think last time when Saturn was in Scorpio, I remember this Ashley Madison side the hack on Ashley Madison came forth. You know, so like Ashley Madison was a famous website where, you know, married men and married women literally, you know, they declared I'm married, but I'm looking for a side piece or whatever, you know, literally that was a problem when Saturn was in Anuradha. So when Ketu transits to Anuradha, that kind of thing can become a problem. If you are having a secretive friend, that's not your wife, that's not your husband, that can be a problem. You can see that. Now, what is interesting with Ketu and Anuradha is also a lot of friendships can go through testing times right now. Usually what I see is also perhaps you might have problems with loyalty, like you had a loyal employee or the loyalty of the employee is being brought to question. Now, that will depend upon the planet. Say you have a benefic there, you might feel like your employee is not loyal enough, or you're dealing with an unexpected loyalty kind of good blessing from an employee. Say you have malefic there, you're having an unloyal employee or whatever, an employee is not loyal. So loyalty can be a big problem. But again, a lot of husbands will be questioning their wife, a lot of wives will be questioning their husband during this time period because of this Anuradha kind of thing. But it's very important to recognize that if you can transform this karma to devotion, like what Aditya was pointing to, it's a very powerful time. Ketu and Jyeshta and Anuradha are very, very powerful time for occult knowledge. If you haven't used astrology at all, for the next 1.5 years, good chance that you might understand some very powerful secrets of astrology. Now, astrology for everyone else, for each and every one else, each and every one of us, the astrology comes for us in different ways, and then they can be very powerful also. Like we understand astrology in our own ways also in the end. But when Ketu is Jyeshta and Anuradha, you'll figure out what astrology is working out for you. Some very powerful secretive remedies that is coming out will be very powerful for you. A very important thing when Ketu is in Anuradha is that I've seen that sometimes these natives do have karma with secrets, something that should have been kept secret, but they just talk about it and they ruin the whole thing. So it's one very important thing that they need to be.
I think he again got froze.
Oh, let's see.
I think he will come back.
Oh, back.
Yeah.
Sandeep ji, you were saying, sorry, just a question. So with Ketu in Jyeshta and Anuradha, you're saying with like sexual scandals or secret, is it more if you have a planet in these nakshatras, or is it just a general theme for everyone?
Right. I would say that if you have a planet, it will become very strong. You need to watch out for that, especially 8th Lord, Malefics, stuff like that. If you don't have a planet, you'll feel that kind of thing playing out in that particular house where it's falling. So it's a challenge there, but you still need to be aware of it. If you have a planet, for sure, you will feel that very, very strongly. I think some kind of loyalty kind of theme will be coming. Loyalty in that particular house. So say the house is falling in 5th house, right? So 5th house is your children's loyalty or children's marriage loyalty, stuff like that. Say it's falling in your 4th house and it's like, your family's loyalty. You feel like, why is my family not loyal to me or whatever, that kind of thing. So it can play out in whatever house that is falling in also. So, but this will be the theme that is actually falling in that, but I've seen that this time period, what is actually happening is that you are actually connecting with friends from a past lifetime. So why are you being attracted to a married man or married woman? Good chance that in a past lifetime both of you might have been partners. So that is coming up to be cleared. So that's an actual thing that you need to be aware about. Usually it might feel like it's happening suddenly because Ketu's in Scorpio. Suddenly you meet someone, suddenly the connection is great, but then he's married or he's not married. But could be that someone could be even lying to you, even them being married or not being married also. That's an important thing too, or them being in a relationship and not being in a relationship also. That's an actual thing to watch out for, So I've seen that. I gave this warning because I've seen this kind of cases happening with Jyeshta and so forth. I've seen that happen, So it's one of those things you need to be careful of in general. The other thing with Jyeshta is that I've seen there is an actual opportunity in the insurance sector right now. You find a lot of people taking up their insurance, a lot of people investing in insurance kind of thing right now. There's an actual opportunity in the insurance kind of sector, right now that is about to happen. I do think it is very powerful time for researchers. It is very good time period for researchers. Researchers will be isolating themselves and coming up with something profound, something deep. That's a very good time period for that. A lot of great research will come forth. I do think you also need to be careful in general about sexual disease and so forth also. That's the important thing because Scorpio is a natural sexual sign and so forth. Malefic, don't have sex with a random stranger and bring yourself sexual disease for your lifetime. That kind of thing you need to watch out for. I've also seen with Anuradha and Jyeshta is definitely bringing about some kind of inheritance kind of karma. So I can say you might have to play this role of dealing with inheritances, having to take care of inheritances. I've seen that. Could also be that karma of like figuring out the details of paperwork or the legalities around the insurance, or even the inheritance also. I've seen that. That's the other thing I've seen. Perhaps usually there is a transformation with the inheritance energy in your life. That's also an actual possibility there. But finally, you are beginning to realize you have to fight for that inheritance, or you begin to realize, you might as well let go of the inheritance. You don't care about things like that. All these variations can play out. I've seen this inheritance theme can be very strong. But I would really recommend for any kind of research you should be doing, any research you have been interested about, this is the time period for research. You can actually discover some very profound secrets. I cannot even recommend that enough. Whatever you have been interested in, convert your hobbies into research. I cannot emphasize that enough. You will be able to see some very insightful ideas. You might be able to find a hidden gem out of them all. It could be that you might be connecting with someone senior in the field. You're looking up to an elder in the field. Could be that you are even connecting with a best friend. Now, usually when you're studying astrology, there's a best friend with whom you're always discussing astrology, and that's how you learn astrology. That's how many people do it. In my experience, so that kind of best friend, astrological best friends, will come forth in many ways. I think the astrology as a field, or occult sciences as a field, is going to explode in bigger fashion right now. I think that will become much more important during this next 1.5 years. And you'll see a lot of people who knew occult sciences in their past lives are actually beginning to pick that up again. We will begin to see a lot of powerful astrologers coming forth right now, a lot of powerful sequence about astrology coming forth right now, even a lot more powerful magicians coming forth right now, really occult people. You'll see that out of nowhere. Now, in Jyeshta world is also, I've seen that many times these natives are like Indra. They'll be owning their own business empire or something like that. Their own business or something like that. That kind of interest can also come forth right now. Maybe these people who are interested in having their own businesses, their own side project, side hustle, which they can convert into a financial opportunity there and so forth. I've seen that kind of thing. Jyeshta also seen very much into dealing with the risks. Many people are willing to take risks right now, the share market and so forth. Now, many people will be making big money in share market. Many people will be losing big money in the share market also. You're going to see all that in Ketu and Scorpio. Now, depending upon the planet there and so forth, you need to be careful of. Depends upon the dasha you are running in also. Now, that's one definite thing I can say, with the Ketu and Scorpio. Ketu and Scorpio is also going with security risks. So I think if you don't have a protective password and all that, make sure, you're doing the protection thing with your passwords and all that. Make sure you're not subjecting yourself to identity theft and all that. That kind of thing is very much possible when Ketu and Scorpio also. Like if security is being questioned. I do think there will be some unexpected crises kind of thing. I do think that can happen when Ketu and Scorpio. The co-ops are being put to question right now in a big way. A lot of unexpected events happening. I think that kind of thing will really, really play out again. Especially when Ketu and Scorpio, the way I see it, that can play out in many ways. I think even more scandals will come forth this time from deeper sources and so forth. I think the military organizations, you can expect a lot of military coup kind of thing going on. A lot of military kind of people, a lot of military work will happen when Ketu and Scorpio also. Addiction, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, addiction. I think so. It's almost complicated. It's almost complementary, So you can see Rahu and Taurus and Ketu and Scorpio. It's like normally we are addicted to food, alcohol, drugs, all that. The next addiction in 8th house is basically that of 8th house is definitely transmission. What I've seen is that if Ketu is in Scorpio and you're feeling the need to transform, good chance that you have to go through the transformation process. Usually there's a change that has to come into your life. That is actually what is being seen. And Ketu and Scorpio, the change is coming because of past life reasons. And you just have to go through it no matter what. I've seen that it's a necessary change in your life. But addictions for sure. It can be people getting into addictions, people finally dealing with therapists. Now, Anuradha, the best friend energy can be a therapist in your life. Talking with a therapist, talking with a counselor. Finally, a lot of people are having mental health crises right now with pandemic also. Good chance that when Ketu and Anuradha or Jyeshta, finally you're talking to an elder about it. Finally, you're talking to like a therapist about it, talking to a friend about it. That kind of thing can
It's
become
very
very
interesting,
strong.
Sandeep, because Moon is getting exalted at Taurus 3 degree. Moon is getting debilitated
Yes.
at Scorpio 3 degree. Vishakha Nakshatra.
Yeah.
Where we will have Rahu and Ketu transiting. Definitely, the mental health is definitely fine.
Big time. Huge mental health thing. I think there's a big opportunity for mental health practitioners right now. If they start targeting, they work on improving more products, more ways to reach out and so forth. It's a big opportunity there. This can also be reflected in medicines that are improving your mind also. Like say you're having a medical kind of thing and so forth, you have a good drug that is calming you down or whatever, right? That kind of thing, you'll begin to see that kind of thing. Lot of big pharmas will be releasing a lot more. I mean, we already have drugs like Ritalin, whatever, right? So that kind of thing already going on. You can see an explosion of that kind of drug kind of thing happening right now. But the mental health is an actual thing that'll be activated with Rahu and Ketu. Your own mental health, your own things that you value as being bringing peace of mind will be questioned when Rahu and Ketu is transiting to those points. As an actual thing that will play. Mental health will be a huge conversation part. So like a lot of stigma around mental health, that kind of thing that is still there, that will be challenged right now. I think that will be an important point. Yeah, Moon will be a big thing. Usually this can also be in karma with mothers. That's the other aspect. If you're having a challenging mother karma, there's a time period where you'll have to confront that, face that, accept that, learn to deal with that. That kind of thing can be a very strong thing. So it's an important point, especially when Rahu's in. Part of the thing is that you have to recognize your mother is also reflecting your own karma, your own mother karma back to you. What kind of mother you are in your past life, that kind of mother is what you're getting in this lifetime. So you need to watch out for that. So usually you need to, play the role of do the dharma of a child, no matter what. You'll begin to see that. Now this can also be mother-like figures also. Mother-like figures can be a thing happening also. So this can be a very powerful thing in that regard. But if you to be frank though, this is a very powerful opportunity to do any kind of Devi sadhana. Any kind of Devi sadhana you do, I cannot emphasize it enough. I cannot, if any, pick up any Devis. Doesn't matter, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Kali, doesn't matter. As long as you're worshipping Mother Goddess, you can get some very powerful spiritual blessings that can define your entire generations for the future during this time period. I cannot emphasize that enough. A lot of Shiva sadhana, a lot of bhakts will come forward during this time period. A lot of, Krishna devotees will come forward during this time period. I do think a lot of Shiva devotees and Devi devotees will also come forward during this time period also. I think when Rahu and Rohini, you can see some interesting thing happening with Krishna organizations and so forth. And Moon is in Rahu and Kritika, some interesting thing with Shiva kind of people and so forth. A lot of Shiva energy can come forward during this time period also. But yeah, the Devi energy is very powerful, yeah. Go ahead.
You said about Shiva, I remember about India, because India chart also, India's Lagna is, so we have Rahu Ketu axis over the first and the 7th house axis for India too. So again, a lot of transition because Rahu is transiting in Lagna for India.
Yeah. So I think there might sudden attacks kind of theme, right? Ketu and Scorpio, sudden attack kind of theme. So emergencies kind of theme. Definitely the big change. India is definitely going to go through a big shift. We see it, Rahu and Taurus can also be money from foreigners, foreign land, things like that. A lot more Indians coming back to India, a lot more Indians actually investing into India, a lot more Indians realizing, I might actually invest in India instead of investing wherever they are at. Actually, people becoming serious about it and so forth. I think that can become very strong thing also. I think that India is going to go through a big shift right now. Maybe some policies that can come forth, which is going to change a lot of things for India, the way I see it. But definitely it will have a foreign kind of element, which is Rahu and so forth. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good point, Aditya. I think I'm curious, but I'm wondering with Rahu and Taurus, it's like India as a country is going through very karmic kind of challenges right now. So the way I would say it is that perhaps they are having to deal with security kind of forces in a strong way. They are having to deal with now China and stuff like that. We are waiting to see what that will explore. So that'll be interesting to see what could happen. So
are already happening because you see in the 9th house of India we have
Saturn there, yeah, that's right.
Jupiter will also
Saturn there.
Jupiter will also and I think there's a bunch of happening around December or January in Capricorn.
That's right.
So that's a time a lot of themes will be playing around. So there's a bunch acting in everyone's chart. There's a lot of planets coming together in the sign of Capricorn. I guess in the month of December or January, around that time.
Yeah. I think Yeah, for sure. The problem I see is that when Mars is in Aries, that's when I think there can be a problem. When the aggression is kind of strong, you feel naturally aggressive.
It's
You feel like
already
fighting with everyone.
Mars is in Aries, in fact.
Yeah, Mars is in Aries, but when Ketu moves into Scorpio, Mars is in Aries, that's when it will be a different animal you are dealing with. I think it will be like aggression will be off. So I think a lot of security concerns, a lot of security threat, feeling this, okay, when is the next war happening, all that. You'll feel that kind of thing happening very strongly.
Already
You
that's
feel in people.
all issues with yesterday I was reading.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are some remedies for Ketu in Scorpio? Were you saying that Devi Sadhana would be one of
Yeah,
them?
Devi Sadhana can be good. I can definitely say occult knowledge. Look into simple. What happens with Scorpio is that Scorpio is a sign where it's having a break. So as a
Right.
simple thing, I can say that usually in planet placed in Scorpio, that particular planet might have experienced a break. So say you have Jupiter in Scorpio. You usually what I've seen is that you might have done some kind of sadhana, and you did it for some time. You got some great results, and then you stopped doing that sadhana. Like just like how Indra had to do sadhana, then he stopped doing it. He became the king. He enjoyed the luxuries. So that's a key thing. So I can definitely say the uh, pick up old mantras and stuff which you japa which you did before. Just restart that. That can give you some very powerful results right now. I think depending upon the planet you have in Scorpio, you can chant those mantras. Even if you don't have planet there, chanting Ganesh mantra is the easiest thing to do. I cannot recommend that enough. Ganesh is very, very easy. I think with Scorpio, the other remedy I can say is when Ketu is in Vishaka, it'll be very good if you can actually put a silver coin into a lake or a temple pond or something like that. That's a silver coin being donated when Ketu is in specifically 3 degrees of Scorpio, moon's debilitation point, and moon being silver and all that. That's a very simple remedy. The other thing I can recommend is to help out women, elderly women, elderly people being helping them out in any way with Jyeshta, Ketu and Jyeshta. I can recommend that. Honoring the elders, paying respect to them, that is very helpful. Or as usual, honoring people with seniority, people who are senior to you. That is the other thing with Ketu and Jyeshta. I've seen that with the Jyeshta, there is this natural tendency for arrogance because of Indra being the king of gods. So usually they need to watch out for that kind of tendency. They need to really pay attention to the arrogance because Indra was arrogant enough to ignore Brihaspati. So that's remember Jyeshta is also Scorpio is also 12 from Sagittarius, the natural Multrikon sign of Jupiter. So very important to watch out for honoring gurus any way you can, donating towards guru courses, any religious institutions, that kind of thing can be very good. I can even recommend with Jyeshta, usually you'll see a lot of earring kind of karma playing out also. Either they have a problem with earring, they can't wear earrings, stuff like that. Donating earrings is very good. I can really recommend that. Buy earrings for your niece or stuff like that. That kind of thing I can really recommend as a remedy. I think with Scorpio, with Anuradha, the best remedy I can recommend is to do and doing lotus kind of thing. Offering lotus flowers to Ganesha is very powerful. Offering lotus flowers to Krishna is very powerful. Lotus flowers to Devi is powerful. That is very, very powerful. I think with Vishaka, though, usually it's a fire ritual. You have to do some kind of Havan and so forth. Havan is very good. In general, all the mantra, it's very time period for occult practices. You should be picking up some sadhana and doing it anyways. You should be picking up some goddess to connect with and offering food and stuff and chanting mantras anyways during this time period. Because what is interestingly happening when Ketu is in Scorpio is that you already did these kind of practices in your past lifetime and you're just picking that back up. That's why you are drawn to one particular god, one particular goddess and stuff like that. So there's an actual possibility that you are just continuing back from what you knew from your past life also. So that's always a blessing whenever you do that. So you're intuitively drawn towards some kind of thing also during that time period. Yeah. So I would say that. What would you like to add, Aditya, for as remedies for Ketu and Scorpio?
Yeah, definitely what you said. Of course, see, more or less, I will say Rahu is in Taurus, which is a materialistic sign, and Ketu is in Scorpio, which is a spiritualistic sign. So keep a balance of both in a whatever way. That's the basic idea. Of course, Rahu is making you to become more materialistic, but Ketu is pulling you to the ground. So I will say keep a balance between both. Now, how you keep it, what you keep it, how you do it, God, this, gurus, and all. I give it to the people how they want to do it. But the overall theme should be, I will say, just as you said, and you have given a lot of already mentioned many themes of doing that. At the same time, do not get carried away with the powerful materialistic nature of Rahu. Be to the ground and understand Ketu, and so that you're not flown away. That's all I will say. And all the measures which you have said make sense because Anuradha is lotus, Ketu is Ganpati, everything you have mentioned, Jyeshta, arrogance, and all these things makes sense.
With Anuradha, I can definitely say being like a best friend to someone, like helping out your best friend, helping out that best friend, who honoring your best friend, being there for that best friend, that kind of thing can be very powerful. I mean, friendship is something that we kind of miss out on in this day and age. Like, you get married, you forget your friends, right? That's a natural thing that happens. But then what I've seen is that honoring or even reconnecting with your best friends is a very simple thing. Just being out there, reaching out, seeing what happens and so forth. That's one of those things I can really recommend. So some of the best, you'll see a lot of best friends coming from your past life, though. That's the key thing in Ketu and Scorpio. I can really recommend that. And then again, you have your best friend secret with you. You don't want to share that with others and so forth. That's the big problem that can happen. So you don't want to do that also. I think I can say helping out your best friend any way you can, gifting anything for your best friend. That's a very simple remedy I can recommend. In Ketu and Anuradha also. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to add. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your take on Rahu Ketu return on people's natal Rahu Ketu? So somebody has their Ketu in Scorpio and Rahu in Taurus, being that activated, how is it going to be like?
So Aditya, what do you think about that? Rahu Ketu axis return for Taurus and Scorpionitis?
Effects for those people, especially people who are born 18 and a half years back, or maybe 37 years back, or maybe 18 and a half, for them, it's a very important time because for them, the Rahu Ketu return is exactly happening over their natal position of Rahu Ketu. So people who are already born in 2000, maybe 2002, somewhere 2002, around that time, people who are born in 1983, around that time, and so on and so forth. So those people already have Rahu Ketu return. Now it depends upon, so of course their results effects will be much more powerful. Now when you talk about individual nature, I have to see whether Rahu Ketu is falling in your first house axis or second eighth house axis or third ninth or whatever that axis. So based on that axis, you will really find something very important. For example, if you have people falling on their first and seventh house axis, then it tells you something about transformation in your career. Because it's on the first house is your filth and seventh house is marriage and other things, business, marriage, because seventh house is also for business, and business, marriage, and other things will come. So basically, transformation on your personality as well as on your marriage issues and your business issues can happen. And if it is second and eighth, family, and then again eighth house is occult research, in-laws basically. Third and ninth, so you have to take. I cannot emphasize on houses which it happen, but the effects of whatever we are talking about, Rahu Ketu transit effects will be much more prominently seen for people with this transit on their natal Rahu and Ketu position. So of course, effects are much more enhanced.
Yeah.
Duration.
Yeah.
Houses too.
Yeah. One thing I can definitely say is that you're dealing with karma that has been going on for generations very strongly. That is one important thing. I think that will be very important right now. Usually, if you have Rahu Ketu in return, so it's kind of important to honor your Pitris, ancestors, things like that. We are talking during Pitru Paksha time right now, actually. It's very good if you can honor your ancestors during this time period. If you do regular rituals for your ancestors, you're doing regular offerings for your ancestors, thinking about them, honoring their memories, that's very good. But usually you kind of have to do what I would really recommend is like get a DNA test during this time period. Whoever is going for Rahu Ketu axis return, get a DNA test, find out what kind of Rahu and Ketu energies they themselves carry. And then even if you can eventually find out more history about your own ancestors, you might actually get some very interesting insights and so forth. Usually Pitru Paksha, this is remedies for your ancestors, what I would really recommend with Rahu Ketu axis return. And then of course your Kuldevi and Kuldevata. If you have a family goddess, family deity, that's very helpful. If you honor them, you'll get more blessings. Right now is the time period to seek their blessings. That can help you out in a big way. If you don't know your Kuldevi, Kuldevata, time to find out who your Kuldevi or Kuldevata is. That's the other problem also with Rahu Ketu also. I've seen that. That can really help you out. Usually doing spiritual practices of your ancestors can give you very good power during this time period. Any particular god they worship, any particular guru they worshipped, any particular temples they went to, all that can have very powerful powerful results now also. I can definitely recommend that. Good chance that you yourself went to the same place in a past life. That's also the one thing that's happened.
Right. Thank you.
It's only not Rahu Ketu return, but for example, people, Rahu may be crossing their Ketu point. And Ketu may be
That's
crossing.
right, yeah. So 9.5 years, right? People who are in, so same things could be important for them. They're going through a karmic thing. Usually I say when Rahu Ketu is returned, as Samudra Mandana is happening in your life, you know. That's what I say. Rahu Ketu axis is activated. So everything is being topsy-turvy, you know. You're going through a big thing. Everything is changed, you know. Asuras and Devas are pulling you from the side. All that is happening, you know. So I think you can expect. But key thing is that after the Samudra Mandana, the Mandana happened and eventually attained Amrita also in the end. It's a very important time period for spiritual practices. So usually I can definitely recommend any spine-based meditation techniques. Like you're meditating on the spine. The Kriya Yoga, for instance, is very good. You know, you do the spine-based breathing thing on that. That's very good. I can really recommend any kind of just meditating on your spine itself is very powerful during this time because Rahu Ketu itself is the spine energy. I can really recommend that. Find out more. Usually you need to watch out for spine-based problems also during this time period. You know, make sure you're doing your yoga and stuff like that. All that kind of thing. Make sure you're stretching your spine, no problems on that front. Make sure you're even taking care of your own diet and so forth, which is stuff like that. You know, make sure your posture is important, good and all that. That kind of thing with Rahu Ketu. I can highly say that. Yeah. But the spine-based meditation is something, even you can find any guided meditations in which you're meditating on chakras, all that. That is also one more thing I can definitely recommend. Spine-based thing is the easiest meditation though. Becoming aware more of your spine and all that, that's very helpful. That's the easiest thing I can recommend. For these meters, definitely the 9.5 Rahu Ketu axis, if it's activated, 100% someone that has been activated for you. So that is about to happen, you know. So I can say that for sure.
Do we generally see more with, especially just with Rahu Ketu transit, do we generally see more results or like through moon or ascendant? It's always a question many people ask. Is it more powerfully felt through moon, or is it like we're looking at both? It's going to activate. So for example, if someone has, you know, Scorpio ascendant and Taurus and Libra moon, for example. So then we're looking 2, 8, 1, 7, both together.
So, well, let me answer that. In my opinion, you should actually be looking at it from the rest of the 9 planets in your chart. Okay. In my opinion, that's how you should be looking. But you should prioritize of this. You have to be looking at it from your moon, your sun, and your natal Rahu also. That should be prioritized. Natal Rahu and Ketu. You should be looking at that. So what is transiting Ketu doing with respect to your own natal Ketu? That's one strong thing you will feel. The house distances between those two, right? So say you have Rahu in Pisces and Rahu in Taurus, right? So it's a 311 house distance between your natal Rahu to the transiting Rahu and the transiting Rahu to the natal Rahu. So that 311 house teams can become very strong for you. Now, the same thing, house distance between your natal moon and the transiting Rahu is very important also. Again, moon and Aquarius now, so 410 house distances between the transiting Rahu and natal moon. You'll see those things important. Sun is also very important because it's a spiritual kind of thing. And then Ketu also same. So Ketu, so the same house teams will be played out with respect to Rahu and Ketu. That'll be the same. So these 4 things need to be analyzed first. And then the Lagna you need to add in. Lagna is basically, you know, what you do in and so forth. But then, interestingly, you'll actually see when you make other planets as the ascendant, you'll actually see those same things playing out also. You'll begin to see like Venus, say from your natal Venus, your spouse is going through a transformation. And because it's falling, Rahu is transiting go through 8th house. Say for instance, your Mars, from your Mars, Rahu is in the 12th house from your Mars. Your sibling is going through a depression kind of issues, which is 12th house themes and so forth. Now you have Jupiter going through like Rahu is in the 4th house. Your guru is finally changing your house, or the mentor is actually your new spiritual energy is coming into your home and so forth. Usually, so that's also one analysis which I feel many people miss out on and so forth. But that's why having it's very helpful if you look at just the house-based descriptions and apply that to all planets in your chart. In my opinion, that's how it should be done. But I do think there will be at least a priority you should give for ascendant, sun, moon, and Rahu Ketu in your chart. and then you can apply it for other planets. So in many ways, so like I said, when people normally look for videos and so, I mean, that's what I used to do, but until I started to look more into it. Like when you normally look at it, you only look at it initially with just sun and moon and so forth. Many astrologers give prediction based on that, and that's fine. But then you're missing out on the other information that you can extract also. I've seen that. You kind of get a full-blown picture when you consider other planets as yes. But you will see it's becoming much more stronger for you with respect to Sun, Moon, Rahu, Ketu, and Ascendant. That's the way I would frame that, yeah. But it's easy from Moon and Ascendant though, yeah. But yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Based on your Lagna chart, which is much more powerful, which analyze, do research on your own chart and see sometimes what happens is your Lagna chart becomes very, very powerful then compared to your moon chart. So in that way, that scenario, what I have seen is if your Lagna chart is very much important, that your moon-based chart or moon chart, then the transits through Lagna becomes much more what is prominent than compared to moon. So of course, as I said, we have to see from each and every planet, but then just for a shortcut, it's not that easy for each and every planet to look into.
Right.
So see which chart resonates more, one is a moon chart or whether it's a Lagna chart, and that's your 0th level, And of course, you can redefine it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's the standard approach. You look at which chart is the strongest chart, Lagna chart is stronger, or moon chart is the strongest, and then you based on that, and you'll see those kind of things. But what I've seen is that like both charts work. I've seen both, like looking at Lagna chart and moon chart works, and I've seen the other planets also work. That's the key thing. When I started seeing that, I was like, so usually when you watch a Rahu Ketu transit video, or my Rahu's in, Pisces or whatever, and then you're looking at, this is going to affect my 4th house. You'll just skip to the 4th house portion and you just read that, listen to that portion. That's what I would do before. Then you begin to see that, it didn't matter. But it was kind of giving me descriptions of other aspects also when you began to actually listen to the other houses. Because, you might have Pisces as your ascendant and Rahu is transiting to Taurus 4th house. But, from your 2nd house of wealth, which is Aries, Rahu is transiting to the 2nd house right now. So you can actually understand all aspects of your life also when you begin to carefully look at that. I think for Rahu Ketu transit in general, it's kind of important to look at it from all houses also, in my opinion. So the rest of the planets fine, but for Rahu Ketu at least you should look at for all planets, because that's a very karmic kind of thing. You can really understand very deeper kind of thing. I think one simple technique which Dr. Pai once mentioned was that the planets, the signs with the 4, 10 houses away are also very important. So 10,000 Rahu is very important, 10,000 Ketu is also very important. That's also one more thing you can say. But yeah, that's the other aspect there. Yeah, but like I said,
planet is important. I will say, like any planet that 10th house, I feel that.
Yeah, exactly that. Very, very important. 100%.
It's what you say, mid-heaven point of that.
Exactly that.
Do not emphasize more on the 10th house. It's very important for each every planet. The 10th house from that planet really plays an important role. And the 4th house, becomes the nadir point.
Yeah. Definitely. 4th house is very nadir point, yeah. Definitely. For 10,000, 4th house. I think that's the... Right. Isn't it, what was the name of the... There's some astronomical names for, right? 10,000 Rahu and 4,000 Rahu.
Not 10th house from Rahu, but it is like Nadir and Zenith, correct? Venus and the Nadir.
Yeah, but I think Rahu, 10,000 Rahu is actually the farthest point from the moon or something like that, right? Perigee or apogee or something like that. Is that right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, meaning the northernmost point. Okay. The cutting is Rahu Ketu. So what will be 10,000, 4,000? It's the northernmost point and the southernmost point.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Plane of, astronomically speaking, it's the plane basically, and the plane is basically inclined. Correct? So Rahu Ketu is nothing but the on the axis point. So what will be the 10,000, the 4,000, the uppermost point and the lowermost point of the plane?
Yeah.
Moon of the plane. So in that way, astronomically, yes, it is very significant. Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's a whole research in itself, how that affects. And some Western astrologers treat that point. They take the midpoint of Rahu Ketu and then do that in either direction. So yeah, that's. I was looking at video. I don't remember recollect, but they do take the midpoints of Rahu Ketu, and then they study transits and other things from that point too. Like we have Brigu Bindu, we have so many other points, correct?
Interesting. Yeah.
Point and so many other Pranapada and other things. Similarly, even this midpoints of Rahu Ketu also is a very important for when they see transits.
Interesting. Yeah. So 10,000 Rahu and Ketu are also important. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sandeep and Aditya,
Thanks. Now,
coming and sharing this wonderful information.
thank you. So another, I think, I don't know how much, 2 hours we spoke for like 1 hour 45. We'll always feel that we'll talk less and then, I don't know, somehow the flow happens, I guess.
Yeah, but there's great information which is shared, so I'm sure everyone will enjoy. Thank
Hopefully.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my God.